So yeah, we're coming from more of people in our 20s, first time doing a trip like this, sticking to a budget, but not like backpacking level. Were there any major things that went wrong? Let's not get into that in this video. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, hi, I'm Bethany. It's been a while since I've done a sit down video like this. Obviously, I'm back. I'm at home in Melbourne, Australia. So I thought it would be really fun today to just kind of have a bit of a catch up and talk about some of the things that I found interesting while traveling. It was my husband and I's first time going to Europe, and we've both done our own travel individually, but never in this capacity, moving around so often and visiting so many different countries in the one trip. So we wrote down quite a few things over the time we were there, which was about a month, just differences from Australia to these different countries. We went to England, Wales briefly, France and Italy. So that's where I'm starting from. Awesome. Okay, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you enjoy it. Appreciate your support, and let's get into it. For me personally, I found the hardest part about this trip just the constant packing and moving every couple of days. It was quite exhausting at times. At the beginning you have adrenaline and excitement, but I feel like that wears off a little bit depending on who you are, and then it's kind of just gets tiring. So that was one thing, and we did have check-in luggage. So we didn't have just a carry-on where we could throw it, with us and just go. It was more of a pack, check it in, do all that. That was one of the things. Tiring, and the luggage doesn't really help that. So my biggest tip for anyone would be decide what kind of trip you want to have before going and before buying luggage if you need it, before any of that. What I mean by that is decide if this is going to be a shorts and t-shirt, throw yourself, just a backpack and just go for it. Like more of a, you just want to see stuff, enjoy it, take it in, and you don't really care about getting cute pictures or anything like that. So that's like one option. What we did was sort of in the middle, because I really couldn't decide what I wanted to do or what it was going to even feel like and look like. So we did end up buying some luggage that we needed, and then it was kind of decided, oh okay, we're gonna have this suitcase, so I might as well fill it up as much as I want within reason. But yeah, definitely decide if you are someone who really wants to get like lots of cute pictures and feel really pretty and wear a lot of dresses or nice clothes. That's a really different kind of trip, and obviously that does require more room, more baggage allowance, and then all of the stuff that comes with moving that around to places. So I hope that made sense. And the second thing I found really challenging was constantly having to decide so many things. Where to eat every day, where to go, how to get a train, how to do this. Like, it's a lot of brain work and leg work obviously, but it's a lot of thinking all the time, especially in countries where maybe you just speak a different language and it requires a bit more effort to understand and figure things out. So I really would have loved to have done a bit more planning and research before we went, especially in regards to food, because food is the number one thing that's gonna make you tired and cranky, and if you're with someone else, have conflict. That's the number one thing. So look up, even if it's just like 1 or 2 spots in each city that you know that are gonna be good for you and within your budget, and have food that you'll enjoy, stuff like that. We kind of winged everything in terms of food. We didn't eat out all the time, but we mostly had hotels and places that didn't have kitchen facilities, so we did have to work around that. So it did require going to different shops and places. But we did eat at places like Subway and McDonald's sometimes, just to make things easier, and it is cheaper than like a restaurant. So yes, know where you want to eat roughly and figure out where those places are in regards to where you're staying, because the hunger will arise and brings a lot of emotions, especially if you're like me. Look who's here. Okay, so shall we start with London?
Yeah.
Because we flew into London, and first time there. What were your first impressions?
I thought the architecture was stunning. Everything about the buildings and the townhouses and government buildings and everything was just so well preserved and historical.
Yeah, it really made you notice notice that like Australia just doesn't have the same history of architecture, and obviously all of that, those old different styles of buildings and stuff. So that was so beautiful everywhere we looked. I didn't really get sick of that. No. And we were there for like 4 days roughly. Cool. And then any major differences we noticed in England and Germany,
there's
UK?
plenty. So one that got me off guard was that you gotta pay for toilets everywhere.
Yeah, even in England. Yeah, I didn't really think about England.
England, any public toilet you gotta pay for. It's not just exclusive to our national park or something. Yeah, so that was quite interesting. Whereas in Australia, I don't think I've ever paid for a toilet.
No, never. I never would think about having to do that.
Yeah.
Such a human right. And then something else I think was, what was it, escalators or stairs? Oh, no. Yeah, so people walk.
Hold on. Explain it. People drive on the left. So here we're taught when you're walking and passing, you pass on the left.
Yeah, it makes sense.
If someone's coming the opposite direction.
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
It makes sense.
And then in London, people would drive on the left, but then walking and all of that giving way on the right. Like you stay on the right of an escalator, you walk to the right of people. One of those things that just is so random. The next major destination or place we spent a decent time was Paris. Again, first time there. So any first impressions?
It was...
Let me just first say. We stayed in a lot of different areas in Paris. Yeah. So we got a bit of a different experience in every place. The first place was a bit more dingy.
Industrial, yeah.
Okay, I was going to say dingy. And didn't really feel like we were in Paris until we got the train into the city properly. But then one of the other places was definitely like in the city. The one in Montmartre. That was much nicer. But yeah, what were some of the things that we noticed about Paris?
One thing that still rings in my head is the sirens. The ambulance has got such a high pitched siren, and you can hear it from miles away.
And they're always going.
And it's always there. You're always hearing.
It's almost like defeats the purpose, because it's like here, if you hear a siren, you're like, oh, okay, I got to pay attention. Move to the side of the road, or like be alert. Whereas there, it's just always happening.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And it's so grating. And then the other thing is just like, and this was in pretty much everywhere we were in Europe, this was true. Yeah. But a lot more people smoking and vaping. Like so many people. I don't even think I know anyone personally here who smokes. That could just be my circle, but I don't know anyone who smokes right now. Unless they're hiding it really well.
Yeah, look, it's around, and vaping is becoming more popular, but it's still, like you said, you wouldn't see large groups on your walk smoking.
Yeah, and like at restaurants, just like everywhere you're sitting, it's like always someone next to you.
That was also because they would smoke and be allowed to smoke while sitting at the restaurant. Yeah. Which they were outside, but still in Australia we're used to not anywhere within 3 meters of a
not having to smell it anywhere either.
Yeah.
It's like so strange if someone is smoking. So that was a big difference, and just obviously because so many people do smoke, they're not as thinking about do people mind if I smoke. It's more just like I'm gonna smoke. So that was interesting.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Because even at Disneyland, like where all the kids are around, people would be holding their babies smoking,
Yeah, it was so foreign to us.
Which again, it's not like there's no parents that smoke in Australia. It's just that at a place where kids, where it's a kids focused place, it's not allowed here, I don't think. So.
No, absolutely wouldn't be. Yeah, it's much more restricted here. It's probably the big thing. Yeah. Too. Yeah. Okay, and then our last stop was Italy, which we were in for the longest time out of any place. So Venice, Rome, Sorrento on the Amalfi Coast. That's all right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we had and then Naples. Briefly
briefly.
Naples on our last night. So first thing I noticed was that there was a bit more friendliness, or just, I don't know, I didn't feel like people were like, oh, it's a tourist, as much as in some of France.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Like there were, you know, old ladies and people who showed us directions when we didn't even ask, just because they, I guess, could tell we were new and didn't know what we were doing. So that was nice.
One thing I noticed, because that was the end of our trip and we worked it out so that we would finish in the warmest part of warmest part of Europe at the time, and so we'd go swimming and I would be wearing shorts like, you know, you're used to in Australia. Whereas there, it was early 20s and they'd be wearing pants.
Celsius, obviously.
Yeah, Celsius.
Yeah.
And they'd all be wearing pants. Yeah. Like even on a hot day in the sun.
I don't know if that's because they just don't feel the heat as much yet, or if it's just a cultural thing of like it's so informal to wear shorts, whereas here everyone like wears shorts. Like it's not seen as like you can't go into a shop in shorts. Yeah,
possibly because they just came out of summer.
It would depend on the place as well. Like in Italy, it would depend on the location. That was interesting. Yeah. So wrapping it up, something we noticed, I guess, being Australians specifically, is we do have our own little phrases and things and greetings that don't translate
at all.
Which I would tell him that they don't understand, and he would just say it anyway. What was the one?
Because it's so natural.
How you going? How you going?
How you going?
How are you going? Which is what we're saying. Can you understand?
How you going? And it would be said, you know,
in passing.
Right? In passing. You just really passing on. You know, instead of thanks, you'd say yeah.
Oh yes. Or have a good one. Have a good one. He always does that one.
That's when we're saying goodbye. Have a good one.
Just doesn't translate.
It makes so much sense in my mind though, because
have a good day would be an easy switch, but the Australian is strong here. So strong.
Which is funny.
Yeah. If you don't know, Anthony grew up in South Africa, so different. I was born in New Zealand, but grew up in Australia, and he's far more Australian than I ever would be. Oh, I just wanted to end with what our favourite place was. What was yours, and then what was mine? You start.
Probably Wales.
Where we spent the least amount of time.
And Disneyland.
What about it did you like?
Disneyland?
No, Wales.
Oh, no, it was because we were with your friend, and
your friend too?
Yeah, our friend. And it was, I feel like that part of the trip was not very typical tourist trip. Like you wouldn't be able to experience that unless you had someone that lived in the area and could, you know, take you in. It wouldn't come up on your booking.com or your, you know, your travel agent, but it was just so good. It was just so nice.
And we had that break. It was kind of a break of like having to get the train everywhere. Like we had her to help get us around in the car, and like that was awesome. And just the more of the freedom and privacy you get from that as well.
Yeah.
I would say like I have similar favorites. Like I also really enjoyed that. I enjoyed Stratford-upon-Avon. Like, yeah, obviously the big cities like Paris and like obviously that was exciting, and you know, it's a once in a lifetime for us maybe.
Each place had their own thing that we liked.
Yeah. But like obviously those big landmarks are so thrilling, but there was something about like for like the soul about being in like the countryside more that was refreshing, and it was just so nice to have that part of a holiday rather than all being in the city. Go, go, go. Like it was so refreshing, and if we go back I would really like to do more like of country UK, even country anywhere we've said, like country France, you know, but obviously it's harder to get around, which is the downside. But yeah.
Fantastic trip.
Yeah.
Loved every minute of it.
Well, thanks for watching today, and for all the support on the travel series. I'm going to probably die down the travel stuff for now. I'm a bit sick of it. I don't know about you. So it's going to be a bit more of my typical videos. You can go back and check some of my stuff out before I was traveling. That's kind of my vibe. and Christmas is here. Yeah. Very excited. So we haven't decorated our tree. It's standing over there, not decorated yet. So we're gonna get to that soon. But yeah, that's gonna be something too, Christmas content.
All right.
We
gotta go.
We gotta go. I love you lots, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Have a good Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
No, there's gonna be like so many more videos before.
Yeah.